Hello everybody and welcome back to another Advanced Leader Guide. Today we'll be covering the leader of the Banished himself, Atriox. This brute is to be feared both in lore and in multiplayer, for I would say Atriox has one of the best kits for laddering. He doesn't have any bad matchups aside from Cutter, and can be played using a different range of strategies on every single map in Halo Wars 2, which is very rare across the other leaders. The recent nerfs to Forge and Jerome mean Atriox's position in the tier list jumped up and is now regarded as one of the top 5 leaders in the game. So let's jump right into it and find out why by reviewing and explaining some of his leader powers. So guys, the first thing we're going to discuss is the leader points and the leader powers for Atriox. So he's got quite a few very good leader powers, which we're going to discuss all of them in detail now. So first up is countermeasures as a first point. So what this does is when you cap a node, it actually drops mines around the node, like we'll see in a second. We drop mines on the node, that's going to stop the enemy capping them. It also slows the decap rate when enemies are trying to take your power nodes. And the most important thing countermeasures does is it adds trip mines to the jump pad brutes. So when you're actually using jump pad brutes, it's going to add trip mines to them. And it's going to be super annoying when you're dealing with your opponents. So you tend to want to use countermeasures on maps like Frontier, Mirage. When you plan to build jump pad brutes with your chosen and you plan to be a bit more aggressive in the game, try and end the game on Tech 1 because you have an advantage, like you're against UNSC on Frontier or Mirage or something like that. You got a good early game advantage, so you whack up a raid camp and you're going to build jump pad brutes, and the trip mines are super annoying because they slow the enemy as they're running through them. But generally speaking, on most maps and most matchups, you'll be taking fortifications as your first point. So what fortifications does is actually reduce the cost of base turrets and also reduce the cost of expansions, building expansions, the turrets on expansions, upgrading the expansion, things like that. So it's an extremely strong early game leader power, especially if you want to play a bit more defensive, and it scales well into the late game as well. There is general builds where there's a strategy at Atriox where you'd go fortifications on your second point as well for extra cheaper bases, extra cheaper turrets, and it's also cheaper to upgrade the turrets also. So it's very good defensively if you decide to play that strategy, but in most scenarios you will be going fortifications first point and then plasma mines second point. So plasma mines is very good at zoning. Unlike normal mines, when they do explode, they leave plasma on the ground, and it stays there for quite a while. So when enemies are running through choke points, for example, like this, and they explode, the plasma will stay there, and the enemy takes a lot of damage as they're running through the choke point. So plasma mines are really good as a second point, and they can be comboed with jump pad brute stuns and slows and things like that. So if you do go the countermeasures route, you stun an enemy with jump pad brutes, you drop the plasma mines on top. I think the slow is about 85% now. They did nerf it a while back, but it'll slow the army. Then you drop plasma mines on top. It does a ton of damage when it arms, and then it does even more damage when the plasma lays down as well. So that's another strategy there for Atriox. So Dying Breath now. We'll discuss Dying Breath. It helps keep your army alive for 8 seconds longer after their HP reaches 0. This is especially useful on the Chosen if you're going to lose him, and other high damage units such as Wraiths, Rangers, etc. It works particularly well versus Mastodons and Wraith Invaders and Phantoms, so garrison mobility units, because the units inside actually auto target the dead units, so you get more value out of the leader power, and against snipers as well, because generally players are kiting with snipers. So when you micro snipers, you'll be running back and forth like this. You won't actually be clicking on the enemy units to focus them unless you can be really quick, because you will lose your snipers otherwise. So it's really good against snipers as well. So Dying Breath is a good point. Now on to Bulwark. Well, this is a third point leader power as well. So Bulwark, generally you want to use this against someone who has a pretty decent nuke on third point. So like Forge with his scatter bomb, Cutter does have archer missiles, but generally he will go ODST. People with glassing beams and things like that. So if they do drop a scatter bomb, for example, you quickly select Bulwark. You bulwark your army, you get like 1.5 seconds of invulnerability, so you should be running away as soon as you drop it. So it's going to negate the initial drops of the scatter bomb, but if you do not move, the scatter bomb will still damage you. So Spirit Assault, that drops 2 suicide grunts. This is always skipped. It's an awful leader point compared to all of the others, so never take Spirit Assault. Beam on 4th point is really good. Generally, depending on the scenario in the game, most people take teleport over beam. This is because your chosen is extremely strong, and he's very easy to vet up. You'll see him vet 1 now. He's very strong when he is vetted up. So you'll want to keep him alive when he gets comboed and things like that. Like if you are playing a cutter player, you'll definitely be taking the teleport option, because the Spartan Slam, ODST drop, he has a ton of stuns to keep you in place, so you'll want to teleport out of the stuns when he drops that combo on top of you. Glassing beam, you all know what glassing beam is, I'm sure. Last 10 seconds is a controllable beam around the map. It does a ton of damage if your opponent's in a choke point. You drop it in the choke point here, the army's funneling through. Drop it in the choke point, you follow them through. You can wipe quite a lot that way. It's not really good for open play, so like if we was fighting at this power node here, unless my opponent isn't high tier, isn't a champ player or knows what they're doing, they're generally not going to split out of it if you're like platinum or gold or something like that. So glassing beams are a really good leader power point to take at the lower levels, because generally I don't think splitting exists at the levels, but certainly in a champ situation you wouldn't just drop a beam in the middle of the open here. 2 things are going to happen. They're either going to split out of it and you're going to do nothing, you might kill 2 marines or something like that, or the other scenario is that they're going to drop a scatter bomb on you while you're beaming because your army stood still and you cannot move. So into the late game, we have Unbreakable and Eradication. The reason Atriox is such a good leader, especially late game, is because his army can become pretty much unkillable. So you have Unbreakable, and that makes your army invincible for 7 seconds. So the enemy's dropping a leader point, or you just want to go into a big engagement and wipe basically everything. You pop Unbreakable, they can't kill you for 7 seconds. Simple as that. On top of that, you got Dying Breath. So Dying Breath units, after or before Unbreakable, as soon as your units die, they're going to last another 8 seconds. So that's 15 seconds of technically invulnerable / alive units that no other leader has. Then you've got the Bulwark, an extra 1.5 seconds of invulnerability, and the heal as well. On top of that, you get your Eradication, your teleport, and your glassing beam. So you could pretty much dodge anything the enemy throws at you, and then you just need to work on the meat on the bones of getting your army composition right and getting a huge army out to actually fight their opponents, rather than just relying on the Chosen. The Chosen's great at complementing your army, but by himself he will get picked off and you will leave yourself in a tough spot. There you go. You see how long that lasts. So now, Eradication is his 5th point power. Generally, if you're Atriox and you're going 5th point, it's very expensive on 5th point, especially in a close game. So you generally won't be picking Eradication up at 5th point unless you're really far ahead. Because it does cost 1,000 supply, 1,000 power. So generally you'll be going fortifications, plasma mines, Dying Breath or Bulwark into beam or teleport, and then you can double back for like beam or teleport or Bulwark or Dying Breath, and then go into Unbreakable, and then later on go into Eradication depending on how the game is going, because like I said, it's very expensive if you waste it. then you've spent a lot of money and it hasn't really given you any value. The problem with Atriox, aside from the jump pack brutes, is that it doesn't really have any slurs or stuns, so it's really hard to hit an eradication in the open. The enemy will just move out of it and it won't do a lot of damage at all. Generally, because of that reason, you'll see most players actually use it on the enemy base to red bar a lot of the pads. As so, you'll see how much damage it actually does. Then you'll have your army on standby, basically stripping the base there. So you're going to have to drop the shield first to be able to do that, but eradication is generally taken later on. So now we've discussed all of the leader points for Atriox. So he gets cheap shields, cheap cloak and gens. Okay guys, so we're just going to be showing you the standard build order for Atriox, the leader power order you're going to be doing in a slowed down manner for this build order, because later on we'll be going into a live game, a live champ game, so we can actually show you how this reflects on the ladder against people similar skill and how it works in real time. And you can watch those videos as well as part of this video and learn from those. But now we're just going to slow things down and show you a generic build order. So you're going to be opening up a chopper with a double harvester. As soon as your harvester is built, you will want to upgrade that immediately. Don't allow a 1 second delay, a 10-second delay, anything like that, because it does hurt your economy. Your chopper, generally, depending on which leader you're against, but at a low level you can do this against anybody because they won't be able to react to it. So you're going to send a chopper on the offense. You want to harass all of the power bundles of the enemy. Normally you will find a unit here. You're just going to ram it. You're going to wiggle side to side to make sure it hits you less. Essentially, this is a trick that all the pros use, all the top players. You wiggle side to side so the enemy unit misses shots, and therefore you come out with a lot more HP. And then what you generally do, you don't steal a power, you'll go to the next one, try and find the next marine or grunt to harass. And fourth, we're going to be putting down a supply pad fourth. You want to try and keep your marines moving as much as possible. So what you do is you keep flicking between your marines with the down on the D-pad if you're on controller, and whatever hotkey you have set on keyboard and mouse. Again, make sure when you get 300 power, make sure you are looking down in the bottom right near the minimap to make sure you have 300 power, and as soon as you hit 300 power, make sure you upgrade the generator straight away. You do not want to be delayed with the builds. Standard is War Council 5th. There's really no reason not to go the Chosen with Atriox. He's very strong. He scales very well into Tech 2, and he's going to be your main unit on Tech 1, basically. If you're against a UNSC and you scout a barracks, a double barracks on their base, you want to be going choppers to support the Chosen, and you need to watch out for snipers as well. Good trick on Bedrock. If you put a sensor tower here, it will give you vision to see this mini base, so you're not going to get stolen. And once we've grabbed all our mini bases, so this build obviously would be a lot smoother earlier on, a lot better, and we would be picking up an expo as well because we got fortification, so the expansion's cheaper for us, the turrets are cheaper for us. If we need to defend, we will put up turrets, we will upgrade the turrets, anything to basically help you survive, and it's all about adapting, guys. So you need to make sure you scout. So a good time to scout is about the 2 minutes 30 seconds mark. That's generally 2 minutes to 2 minutes 30. Generally you'll see all 5 pads on the enemy base, so you'll see what they're up to. So if you see a double generator like this and turrets in a live game, generally they'll be quick teching, so you either need to get your generator up as soon as possible, your second generator up as soon as possible, and start taking these power nodes so you catch up, or you need to push this base. You need to push this base with everything you've got, and just end them, because they're going to have no units if they have a double gen early on. So generally, in a normal build, when you war council, if you're going hero, once the upgrade has finished, you will recycle this, you'll put up a second generator. As soon as that second generator is built, you will be upgrading that as well. All of these mini bases are going to have supply pads on for the this build, and our expansion is actually going to go double raid camp with an apex as well. So I mean, we're already 4 minutes into the game, but we will show you in a live game how this works out later on, so you can see the timings and how quickly you can actually get this online and built. But now, what we would have in this situation is we've had all the power nodes, because our opponent's going into quick tech. He's going to go tech 2, he's going to probably build rangers to counter our chosen and things like that. So we're going to have the map, we're going to have quite a bit of power, we're going to have the expansion, we're going to have the double generator and all of our mini bases. We're going to be in a pretty good spot, which is why I would recommend not to actually skip Tech 1 with most leaders. I would play Tech 1, play for the power nodes, play for the mini bases, try and get your expansion if you're way ahead and things like that. Make sure you're scouting the enemy expansion. So if you didn't know, a trick you could do is put units on hold ground on the ledges around all expansions. They all have this. Just putting a grunt on the ledge will allow you to scout this as soon as they pick it up. If it's in the situation they're in now, push it, kill it, put yourself further ahead. If they are double gen, tailed up like this, if they've got 2 or more turrets potentially, then go around and kill their mini bases. You want to cut off as much as possible on the enemy to put yourself ahead. So now we got third point. Third point's a bit late, but generally what you will see with Atriox, especially with the double fort build, we will show you after, is that by buying loads of turrets, upgrading your bases, upgrading your turrets, and buying all the mini bases and killing mini bases and taking power nodes, what happens is that all leads towards leader point experience, and the more of that you have, the faster these leader points come up. And if you're ahead of your opponent on leader points, generally you have a huge advantage, because you're going to have 4 points at this time in the game compared to their 3. It's going to be extra useful for you in the game. So third points with Atriox can be kind of situational. You will either be going Bulwark or you'll be going Dying Breath. You definitely never want to be going Spirit Assault unless you are extremely desperate. You have no units, your base is getting pushed, you want to drop that in, but it's so slow to come in, it's very easy to split out of, and dodge, it's hardly ever worth it. So into Tech 2, what you want to do as soon as you hit Tech 2, as you're queuing up Tech 2, you want to be building a war council somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Get rid of an unupgraded supply pad, build a war council, because when you hit Tech 2 and you're out on the map like this, you want to immediately be upgrading this chosen right here. He is a tank, he's a unit, he can output a lot of damage. You need to upgrade him, get the Scorch Rounds upgrade as soon as possible, as soon as you hit Tech 2. To give yourself that extra edge as well. All of this is timing, so as long as it's on time, and even at a low level, like up to like Diamond and even Onyx in some situations, you can still be slow. You don't have to do everything perfect, and you're still gonna have a huge chance at winning and really well. What I have found at the lower levels, when I play on a Smurf and I'm ranking Smurfs up and things like that, is that they just won't build units, or they won't take map control, or they don't take bases, and this guy's Tech 2 at 8 minutes in. I mean, we are as well, just because we've been slowing things down, but you can do things so much faster than your opponent if you just put your mind to it and work on these builds. So next step, as you hit Tech 2 and you get in the upgrade for the Chosen, you want to be upgrading all of your supply pads, or at least 3 or 4 supply pads on Tech 2 with the spare power you have. And that's going to help your economy, because your macro is probably the most important thing, especially at a low level, because just taking engagements and losing your army over and over, if you have a better macro, more upgraded pads than your opponent, you're eventually going to win, because you're going to out-eco them and rebuild faster than them. So that's something to look at and consider. That's one of the most important things in the game, as well as your unit composition. So your unit composition, you're generally going to be going a couple of rangers into a counter ball, reavers, hunters, scout. You got to scout, guys. You got to scout your opponent to find out what they're up to. Always send a scout like every 2 or 3 minutes. Find out what production buildings they have and counter that. It's going to give you the best chance at surviving and winning the game. So 4th point. You got this guy Tech 2. You probably got him Vet 1 from killing a few units, killing a few power nodes. In that situation where right now we're at 16 population. He's our only unit to keep us alive. We're going to take teleport because we need to keep him alive. If he gets in trouble, we teleport him out. If you have a big juicy army, you got like 60-80 pop at this point. You can take Glassing Beam or teleport. Glassing Beam obviously really good, especially at a low level because they don't split out of it. They just kind of eat the beam, and you kill a lot that way, and that's what makes games last a lot longer. So a hold grunt has finally come in clutch. He's scouted the base that the opponent is trying to put up, so we're going to kill that immediately there. And the aim here now, because we have such a huge advantage with all the nodes and the bases and stuff, we're going to pick up a 3rd base. We're going to go Tech 3, and we're going to push our advantage even further. So Banished first banished, essentially. You want to go Tech 3. You want to start putting your foundries up. You want to go into rifts. You want to get a nice rift ball going. You want to get Scorch Mortar for the rifts as soon as you hit Tech 3. Against UNSC, you can kind of you have to play more Tech 2 with a counter ball of units. So your Ranger, your Reaver, your Hunter. You got to play that for a while until you gain advantage and can go Tech 3. And then you start building the rifts for base damage. And that's just essentially it. That's generally the way to go with Atriox. On 5th point, you generally won't go Eradication in a close game because you can't afford it, and Atriox doesn't really have any stuns to be able to combo that with anything really well. Most high level players tend to drop Eradication on a base, strip the base with the Eradication, finish it off with the units, and do it that way. But typically you can double back on any leader power here. So Unbreakable's really good, but again, it is expensive. That is definitely a point you want to take at this point if you can afford it as well. Teleport really good to avoid the enemy's attacks, their leader powers, and Die Breath also a good point at this stage as well. So from here you can basically go into anything. It's just how you guys want to play, and you will learn this over time. If you are a beginner, don't worry, just get the typical 5-minute build order down as we showed at the start. Pick the right leader powers and try to use them effectively. Mines and choke points, beam. If an army's in the open like this, don't just throw a beam on the army. Wait until they're like walking through here or something. You're going to do so much more damage if you just hold on to your leader powers and use them in the right situations at the right times. Now, it goes without saying, against harassment leaders like your Cutter and Kansano, you want to be getting a shield on your main base and your expos as quickly as possible, because they will just keep dropping units on it, dropping units when you're out of position. So guys, I hope you liked this standard build order for Atriox, explanation of what he can do, the leader power progression that he can use, descriptions of the army composition that you generally want to go into against Banished and the UNSC. And next we're going to show you the double fortification build, how to play that one out, because that is really good. I imagine the double fortification build will be a lot better at a lower level, because it works on your macro a lot. It's all about your economy, and if your economy is good, like right now you can see we got 10k blue, 4.5k power, and the AI can't do anything to this Chosen. He's got Vet 1, so this is typically how I would see a lot of like bronze, silver, platinum, gold games going, like this. You could literally, if you were good enough, win with the Chosen. A Clogger Journey here. So you'll see how much damage an Erad does now on a base. All red bar, so you have a few units here. You'll finish all the pads off. You'll strip the economy. In that situation, it's worthwhile. But guys, thank you for watching. We'll move on to the next video now. Okay guys, so in this section of the video we're going to be showing you the double fortification build. We're actually going to be showing it down on Rift because Rift is a pretty good map to do the double expansion expo with double fortification on, just because it has too many bases. With this build, essentially what you have to do, you have to pick up your mini bases. If you play a map with a lot of mini bases, you have to make sure you're actually picking up those mini bases first. Otherwise, if your opponent does steal one of your mini bases, it's going to be really difficult for you to actually clear out and just kind of mess up your complete build. To be honest, it's going to mess it all up. So as before, as soon as that harvester is upgraded, you have to make sure you're upgrading these on time. You have to make sure you're collecting the resources out on the maps, guys. Otherwise your build is going to be delayed. We open double grunt there just so we can get a lot more resources out on the map. We can actually take that right now as well. Generally, you want to take this mini base on the flyby as you're going past. We're going to be going generator fed. We should have enough power to upgrade our generator just from this power here. These are 50 and 50 power bundles, so as soon as it's collecting that, we'll have enough. And we're going to be doing the same as the last build. We're going to be going supply pad 4th into a war council 5th as well. Don't want to get this mini stolen, so we're just going to run back here immediately, pick that up, and then we're going to come back for the supplies. So far, so good. Just keep collecting resources. War council goes down, so now we have completed everything. As soon as we build our chosen, that's when we're going to pick up our expansion, so we have to be in a position to be able to do that. We just need a bit more power. It's not unusual in the game for you to secure at least one right side power, your own power, and a bundle here, so this is pretty accurate, pretty on point. Just supply pads going to be going down on here. We're just going to cancel that for our hero there. Put down another supply pad. He's going to go to the hill. We're going to grab this expert in a second. As you can see, we're nearing second point. As soon as we hit that second point, that's when we want to be getting our expert, because that's when it becomes even cheaper. As you see now, 400, 150 ticket, 300, 125. It's a lot cheaper. You're picking this up. So you're going to go over to the opponent's side and pick up a second one as well. So turrets even cheaper. You want to turret up with this build. It is a very turtly, economical build. You want to be getting your chosen out, taking power nodes. You want your turrets up. Taking map control really and defending is the #1 priority with this build. So before we actually take the second expansion, we need to get our chosen upgraded. He's our main line of defense. And we're just going to try and vet him up on the power nodes as well while doing this. He does very little damage without his upgrade. We've actually been scouted over here, which is interesting. Got a lot of blue. Expo is just about to be built. We're going to be putting a raid camp down first, because if we're getting pushed, we will be building suicide grunts. He's going to take another power node now. One of these grunts was over here. There we go. Generator going to go down second. I'm going to put an apex down and another raid camp. Let's try and vet up the chosen. And we're going to upgrade the expansion as well. You know, a lot of blue. We want more grunts coming out. We want jump up brutes coming out. We want a couple of suicide grunts coming out. Kill another unit. Pick up another expo. Build some engineers. At this point you can start getting a little bit aggressive. If they quick teched, they're probably in tech 2 already, so you'll have to back off to your turrets. They haven't expanded, so we can't deny that. Obviously we are just against AI, so this is a weird scenario, to be honest. We're just going to put a unit in there and a unit in there, just to be able to scout their actual expansions. Going to upgrade our second generator. Should have done that a bit earlier, to be honest. We're getting engines coming out, and this is all situational. Like, you can get away with not building units here and building turrets, or building units and no turrets, depending on what your opponent's doing. So you really need to scout. If they have a good double raid camp or something up like that, you're going to have to be forced to buy turrets and defend and things like that. This expansion actually doesn't get upgraded, because you should be able to defend it, so your army should be hovering over here. Next, you're going to go into Tech 2 with a build, so we're looking really healthy right now. We could do with some more units out on the map. We're going to play defensively here. We're going to send some jump pack brutes up to harass. Third point, honestly, I've been liking going plasma mines, because plasma mines are so good. They're really good with the jump pack brute stuns, they're really good in choke points, and the plasma is just really good in general fights if your opponent's not splitting out of it. But again, dying breath and bulwark is an option as well. For this, we're just gonna pick the mines. I'm gonna put it on the little choke point there for now. If you're really far ahead on Tech 1, you could literally go into a fair generator at this point. Probably something you guys haven't seen before. What we're going to do, we're not going to upgrade this base to Tech 1. We're going to upgrade the expansion to Tech 1. Now, you might think I'm crazy, but this opponent doesn't have his mini bases. And you're going to build more turrets on here, of course. You're going to get that armory back up as you queue into Tech 2, because you want to get that upgrade for the Chosen. You can put a fair generator down on one of your bases. I'm going to put it on the main. We probably shouldn't do that, since that one is not going to be defended as much. But the reason we go Tech 2 on this base is because generally this is the base that your opponent will push. So if anybody's pushing, they're going to push this base first. They're going to see this Tech 2. It's actually going to be stronger. It's going to have more pads, more production, more economy on it, more everything really. But your fair generator usually will go down on this base rather than your main like this, your X main, should we say. Shield generators are only 375 over 125, so you'll want to get one of those on your production, your economy, especially if you're playing against drop leaders. You won't be able to defend that. Get rid of this now. And go into a foundry. We've got Ranger, NG. Ranger NG, we got jump pack brutes. Now we're going to get some Reaver. And we should be good. You get this full population. You then upgrade your other expo. You take a fourth base while you're looking good like this. All this is going on. You take a few good wins from against the enemy with your beam, your Chosen, your mines, and you're looking in a really good, strong position economically. So it is a very power hungry build. You're spending a lot of power early on, but everything you're buying is cheaper than your opponent. So it's not too bad. You just gotta wait for that aggression. Like, if you are being rushed, you have the Chosen to stop the rush. You have turrets to stop the rush. It's quite easily defended. On a Shroud. So Shrouds, if you didn't know, are the biggest enemy of the Chosen. Shrouds block Chosen shots. They block Fortification shots. And everything like that. So you have to be careful. You have to focus the Shroud down straight away if you want your Chosen to do well and do anything. So again, at this point, it's the same strategy as the last build. You want to go Tech 3. You want to go into Wraiths. That's essentially base. Wraiths, mass Wraiths with your Chosen, with Engineers, really good. When in fights, make sure you do build or press the Y ability on the NG bubble and put the NG bubble over your units. The reason you do this is because NG bubbles give 40% damage reduction. So they're very strong. You just cycle them one by one. Never use them all at the same time. Just use them one at a time like this. 40% damage reduction against leader powers, the enemy army, anything. It's you could say it's pretty broken, to be fair. You want to be super annoying and you're really ahead of your opponent. Take the base in front of him, just so he can't do it. You don't have to build on it if you don't have much resources. Just take it because it's so cheap for you. Bases are so cheap. And Tech 3, which means we're going to be getting the the double foundry up, the triple foundry. So this game's pretty much over. That is the build order for Atriox. Just make sure you are queuing up resources, building everything on time, getting turrets on your bases, getting shield gens on your bases so you're looking in a good spot. Play really defensively until you're in a really good position, like your opponent's throwing themselves at your shield, you're killing a lot of units and stuff like that. And when you do wipe their army, that's when you can push out. You can push out to the enemy once you've wiped their army, because you're going to be in a much better position. You just have to bait them into pushing, bait them into the beams. Oh, I just got beamed. Rip. That's where you need teleport in situations like this. Look at this. If you don't split, look how much damage it does. But look at how chosen. He's vet 2. Game's over. That's the build. I hope you enjoyed it. Now we're going to go into some real life champ games and put these builds into practice. Thank you guys for watching. Okay guys, so today we're going to try and show you some Atriox gameplay for the advanced guide. See what you should do in live situations and how you react to your opponent, what army composition you build, what leader power orders you use, and just seeing it all in action and come together. So we're playing Cutter on Badlands. An extremely tough matchup for Atriox. I would say Cutter is probably his only bad matchup.
What do you want? Pay attention. Rally point set.
GW Avenger. Okay.
Harvester constructed.
So this guy's like mid Onyx, something like that. Trying to try to turn that down so you can hear me a bit better. So essentially what we're going to do here is try and grab as many mini bases as possible. We're going to go straight to the power because we have a chopper. This is stupid from him. You should not be sending a marine to fight a chopper on the big power bundle like this. Did send a jackrabbit though, so touche to him. Still going to harass the marine. We should be able to kill it. Jackrabbits don't have the great accuracy, so we can just keep avoiding it. We gotta do some macro bits in the background to make sure everything else is gonna be on point.
Their troops are brave but foolish.
Didn't necessarily need to ram him there.
Stand to attention.
Ah, he got it right in front of me. I think we still win this fight if we can keep wiggling. We keep wiggling. Oh, we traded. That's fine. That's fine. We took a marine and a chopper, and we're about to secure the power.
Listen up, wretches. I'm hungry for blood. Grunts, ready.
So we're just gonna build jump at brutes. Just a couple of jump at brutes. We're not gonna overcommit. We're not gonna build loads. We're mainly going to be going choppers, a couple of jump at brutes to actually clear out his mini bases, and we're going to get the chosen out as well. So cheeky bugger has another jackrabbit. Alright, I got another chopper on the way. Interesting. He does have a barracks here as well. Yeah, jackrabbit flame, and that's pretty good from him. I kind of just need to back off now and wait for my chosen. So I got 3 mini bases. He only got 2. So economically we're better off, but we are going to have less units early on because we had to spend that extra resources on that mini base. Oh, get in there.
Local units. Moving! Get out of the way! Right away! Local units. Local units. Plasma rounds researched. All units. I pledge my loyalty.
We're just gonna group everything here. We're actually gonna wait for the chosen to arrive. We're probably gonna lose the mini base. He's got Jackrabbit sitting in the plasma. That's not really good micro from him. Just gonna recycle our pads so we get our money back. But we're gonna kill all this right now.
The enemy has destroyed one of our buildings. Attack from enemy. Local units.
We know there's mines there, so. Oh, we just killed like all the Jackrabbits.
Local units. Local units. Local units. I am your local units. None shall stop me. Local units.
So while all this is going on in the background, guys, just try and keep your macro going back at home. You saw there I had about 800 blue after my chosen got upgraded. That was a stupid sniper from him.
Right away. You summoned me. Chopper reporting. Let's do this. Into battle. Local units are yours. Wasting time. Leader power ready. On the move. The enemy sent vehicle harvester.
We'll try and kite as much as we can here.
I'm on it. Clear out. Coming through.
Yeah, there's a couple of weak units.
Leader point.
Get off a ram before we die.
Need to serve the cause. Local units.
I'm gonna build some turrets at home.
I heard you.
Okay, we're taking the power nodes now with our one grunt.
That's not our base is under
I don't know why he's building snipers.
units.
Literally gonna get creamed.
All move to position. Local units. Local units. All units. Ready to go. Ready to ride out. Augmented extractor upgrade.
His army's down there now. We can kill all this. It's really weak.
The Jiruhan I will rise. It is done. Turret complete. Our base is under attack. Local units. Local units. Run chopper moving to mini base complete.
There is his ODST drop. That's a bit wasted. He should have saved that for my Trojan. I'm going to go into Tech 2 now. I'm going to be getting up a raid camp so I can go into Rangers. And I'm actually going to pick up an Expo while all this is going on too. I'm going to try and vet up my Chosen
I'm under attack from enemy
by killing the Sentinels.
Our base is under attack. Local units at your command.
And I can just have a grunt go in and take that later on.
Local units.
Oh, okay. Drop Lotus Master.
Harvester constructed. Citadel upgrade complete. Position. Local units.
What we should have done is built our armory.
Troops are brave. Our base is under attack. Run! I said run! Move! Move! By your command.
Nice. That's very nice. We're going to steal that from him.
Into the fray.
Killing his ODST is huge.
It will be done. I will see to it. War Council constructed.
The reason we're shooting the far away one is because we can catch the other one anywhere, so I'm gonna kill that whole army, upgrade this, upgrade this.
Ready yourselves. Long. Run. Ready. We must take the point. Making our approach.
I'm not gonna clear that many anytime soon.
You command. The future belongs to Atriox. Enemy troops.
We're just gonna go into a counter ball.
Enemy troops.
So if you click on his base as well, if you didn't know, you can see what tech level he is. So we can see he is tech 2 now. We got Bulwark and we got Beam. The Bulwarks are basically the ODST Spartan Slam. That's what we're going to save it for.
I am your instrument.
I won't need to use it for anything else.
Quiet. I serve
Looking pretty comfortable now, so we're actually going to get a third generator. We're going to need the power, but with the harassment skills of Cutter, you're going to have to put a shield in on that as soon as possible. I know this player's only Onyx, but if I was playing against like a lot better player, someone similar skill to me, I would have to do something else essentially. So
We're under attack from their vehicles.
started to build Hogs now, so we're just gonna get a couple of hunter. Our chosen will be able to deal with most of it. Got Engines coming as well because the Engie bubble actually reduces damage by 40%. I'm gonna stack our stuff over here. I really don't want to go up there. That's why I don't like this map. It's such a long way to go to deal with this. I'm gonna scout my Rangers. Send my chosen up to top. And honestly, I might just go into Banshee now. I got enough Hunter to deal with what he's got. Send my chosen up top. Get a few Banshee out. We got a beam in the back pocket as well. I'll gobble up some of that power that you forgot about. We should be upgrading the expert and all of our supply pads.
Our base is under attack. Immediately. None shall stop me. I live and die to serve the banner.
We don't really want to pop the Engie bubble until we lose our shield. Our Rangers here, they aren't really going to do anything. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Let's say that because we're cheeky. See, that's what we wanted to save it for. Now we're going to lose our chosen for nothing. Oh, not for nothing because he rammed the hell out of it. Wow, we killed so much there. We killed so much.
Our base is under attack. Leader power ready. All units.
And we we basically blind picked Rangers against Cutter because, I mean, Cutter's an infantry player. That's generally what they do, you know. We're pretty good right now anyway, despite losing that fight. We're going to take 3. We have 4 power nerds. Banshee is going to get the mobility to clear out his. Oh, try and deny that.
Harvester constructed. What is our mission? Local units. Rally point set.
Yep, he died. It's my node now.
Affirmative. It's an onslaught of vehicles.
So generally what you're going to do with Atriox and Banish when you get Tech 3 is you're going to go into Wraith. Wraith's really good. I don't expect this guy to be building like Tank or Shock Round Cyclops or anything like that. Obviously they are really good. I'm going to get the chosen upgrade. We're going to get a shield because he is pushing, by the way. So we're going to get the hunters on the high ground. And Wraiths are going to be what's coming out now.
The enemy has destroyed one of our buildings. The wretches try to bring me down with their vehicles.
Just send a little hit squad around to actually clear out the mini bases there. Okay, the Banshees are away from the Wolverines, but Wraiths are going to completely throw him off guard. So. Oh shit, Chosen, no. And that's why you use teleport. Oh, he's got, actually got snipers coming. Interesting. These hunters on the high ground are literally fucking him. He uses big drop on my Banshees. That is a no-no. He's just building everything. He's trying to spam whatever he can.
My weapons are Rangers for hire. Where shall I go? Leader power ready. Local units. Harvester constructed.
We're played it pretty lazy in the early game here. Now we're just kind of gonna get full pop. Play on defensive while we get full pop. And then push out. So he's making a push. We have Dying Breath. Well, the Hunter's in the front. Turn in the front. On the back. Riff.
At your command. Augmented harvester upgrade.
I think Scorch is probably going to kill this guy. If I had teleport now, I would teleport on top of him because I'm actually winning this fight. Just remember to keep spamming while this is going on. Losing his tank's huge. He's pushing all the way to the top. Forgot we had this base because I'm a noob. And we're going to push all the way over here. We got a grunt here. We're going to take this power node. Just always be looking for something to do, guys. When you're playing like this. Always checking on your economy. The area was pretty rough, so... Didn't really... Wasted a lot in the early game. It's a pretty decent army, but we got Beam, we got Bullet, we got Dying Breath. Should be pretty good. Yeah, the early game we wasn't macroing at all. We were really late on our second generator, things like that. Yeah, shield on our main now since we're completely out of position. We can catch him off guard here before he gets to like base turrets and stuff. I'm gonna catch him in the choke point. My army stopped moving. Oh, they're still chasing. Everything's dead. No splits from him. That's what I mean. At the lower tiers like this, you're gonna completely dominate because they don't split beams. No, we can move out the ODST because the stun isn't that great. Kill those mines because they do a lot of damage. Right. All those Cyclops just got melted. Absolutely dominated. A close air support on defense? Alright. Never use a close air support on defense. We're just gonna walk away from that. Right, you guys are dead anyway, so... That's siege turret? Does he have a siege? Oh, he has a fucking siege turret. What a boss. What a boss. I honestly just forgot that I took this base just because he didn't fucking scout it or shoot it. Normally when I'm playing players, like if I took a cheeky expo like that, it isn't really to like take it to build on it, it's to take it to stop your opponent from doing anything with it. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that he didn't do anything with that. Oh shit, that's a lot of sniper. One shot. Oh, it's disgusting. Snipers are so bad. Oh my god. Okay. Still pushing. And there you go, GG's. So in essence, the early game didn't go too well. If that was a champ level cutter, I would have probably lost because I do think cutter is probably the best leader to play into Atriox. It's really difficult to deal with all the drops, the speed and the mobility. You kind of have to play really defensive. Chosen Chopper is really good in case they go snipers. If they go grenade throw, then you're probably going to lose all your choppers to like a ODST drop Spartan. Lotus Mines, something like that. You have to avoid. If they have a Spartan, you have to avoid the Spartan Slam Lotus Mines. Your bulwark needs to be safe for that. You need to get out of it as soon as possible. But in the mid game, that went pretty well. Just went counters. Blind spammed rangers because at my level, generally all cutter players will be building infantry, they'll be building snipers, combatant marines, things like that. So rangers work really well into that. He went into cutter hogs, which wasn't too bad because he didn't like push straight to my main. Badlands is a pretty big map, so when I scouted that, I immediately got out some hunters. And obviously the Chosen dealt with a lot of population. Even though he died, he killed so much there with that beam as well. So it was more cost effective for me in that engagement. And then late game, yeah, you want to be going into Wraith counterball against UNSC, and basically just all Wraiths with a couple of Reavers and Enges against Banished as well. Wraiths are really good. As soon as you hit Tech 3, you want to be getting Scorch Mortar because it's a very good ability. And do not forget to use your Y abilities when you do have Scorch Mortar, and your Y abilities in general with every unit as well. But no, we'll try and find another game now. And give you a bit more information in that game as well. Okay guys, so we're going to try and show you the double fortifications build with Atriox. We actually got Sentry here. So Sentry isn't a normal tournament map,
I'm hungry for blood.
but we will work with it anyway.
Runs ready. Harvester constructed. Chopper ready to scout. Local units.
So we're already a bit behind because the sounds were too loud.
Pay attention. All units.
Essentially what we're going to be doing, we're going to be opening up Chopper, we're going to harass the enemy units.
Augmented harvester upgrade complete.
So you're going Gem 3rd, we're going to go War Council 5th to get our Chosen out. And just before, or just as we get our second point, we're going to be building a second base. Okay, he's going in the garrison.
Chopper under assault from enemy troops. Hold your tongues and listen. As you command. Power extractor constructed. I'm hungry for blood. Move, you fools. Grunts, ready. Local units. Stand to attention. Yes. Tuned up and ready to go. You have orders. Harvester constructed.
So right now we're just making sure we're picking up as many resources as possible. We're getting map control. We have to pick up some minis. There's no way about it. So ideally, the double fortification build works on maps where there isn't a lot of minis.
Got my motor running.
So you don't have to contest them. You can just go into a second base. But
Council constructed.
fortunately, this map is not the case.
Rally point set. Ready yourselves. Listen up, wretches. As you wish. Mini base complete. Leader point. Silent ready. Stand to attention.
Okay, so the reason you want to pick up your expansions as quickly as possible when you actually hit the second point, double fortifications, is just because the enemy won't really have anything to stop it early on. Like, if you're not building a lot of units early on, you want to grab the bases as quickly as possible because the enemy won't have a lot to stop the base coming up, but your Chosen will be able to pretty much kill anything at the 3-minute mark, like this. So I'm just going to pick up that expo there.
Harvester constructed.
Sure who we're against, but we need to go scout. Fox Peche, so he's like a champ player. Yeah, he's a champ player. As soon as you upgrade your Chosen, you're actually going to be getting a second generator there. So we have to go for the scout just to make sure he's not rushing, because this doesn't really work if he rushes us. we won't really have a lot to defend in that aspect. So we are seeing snipers come out from him, we're seeing a double generator, we're seeing turrets coming up, so he's starting to play really defensively as well, so it should be quite easy for us to get these bases up and built.
What do you want? Squad moving to position. Without question, I will. Outpost constructed.
We've got a lot of blue. We're actually going to build an apex on our expansion and a raid camp as well. And we're going to start building turrets on our main base.
The future belongs to Atriox.
The reason we're going to do this is because we don't have units, so we need something to defend. Now we can just start building supply pads on all of the other bases as well. I'm gonna pick up a few pounders just so we can try and take it up a lot quicker. Let's say Bulwark Fed, but we could go Dying Breath and we could go Mads as well. We're actually playing against Forge, which is interesting. I'm gonna try and stop the scout. He is actually gonna get the scout on the base, so we're just gonna build an engineer just to help our chosen out if he does get into a fight. The raid camp is generally for jump pack brutes, so we can start harassing the map. Harassing his mini bases if he has mini bases, but as you can see the map's pretty red. He doesn't have a lot at the moment. He's actually upgraded the supply pads over here, which is interesting. Oh, I was hoping to get that scout actually in the garrison there, but it looks like he's got snipers and a fortification, so he's not actually pushing, so we should be able to sail into Tech 2 quite quickly. Or quite comfortably. 5:35 is not quick by any means for a Tech 2. But again, this is just to show the build for you guys in a real life situation. So next, as you queue up Tech 2, what you want to be doing is actually getting your armory built, because you want to upgrade the Chosen as quickly as possible. Since we got so much blue, we're actually going to go into a fair generator, because Sentry is a bit of a defensive map. We know he's not pushing. Let's scout one of our bases. He doesn't have a lot there, but that should distract him for a little bit. Oh, fuck. I don't want to send my units across there because I don't want to die to the bridge. Alright, he does have that. I'm going to build a shroud because a shroud counters the forge hog, really. Stops him from shooting. This forge is really weak just from the sentinel. Here we go. So I wanted to wait for, so I didn't have to kill my chosen. Right, kill this guy. We forgot to upgrade our chosen as well, which is not good. We could honestly build a raid camp on here. Oh. We actually missed the forge hog though. So he's not going to die, unfortunately. Should have time to get back across. Do have hogs over here now. We're actually going to lose that expansion, which isn't a problem. It isn't too bad. I'm going to get a shield on our main because this is our main economy. I'm going to upgrade the supply pads as well. Honestly, I'm so rich right now, I could go into another generator. Normally wouldn't recommend a 4th generator, but again, it is Sentry. Playing a lot better than my opponent. We kind of want him to push us. We don't have a huge army to be able to push him yet. if your base is going to die like this, make sure you recycle all of the pads on the base, because you do get money back for actually doing that as well. Don't need that.
Listen up, wretches.
So we're in a really comfortable spot right now. He's not really pushing, he's not doing too much. We're going to deny that. We can kill a hog there, we can save our mini base. We have a good economy, we got 3 mini bases, we got 3 bases still. This is all, has a lot of turrets on as well to help us defend that. Let's send my rangers up and just deny everything from your opponent. So if they're taking your power, send your units to deny them. They're trying to kill your mini bases, send your units to deny them. Because right now you're just playing in your comfort zone. You need to play defensive. As you can see, we got 30 population. We can't really push it. Didn't see what his army comp was. I saw snipers. I saw hogs. Didn't see much of anything else. But we're going to be going into. We're going to be going into Tech 3 now. He has some Hornets. Build a couple of Reavers. We'll get a shield gen on here as well, just in case he pushes. Don't really need that. Yeah, so when you hit Tech 3, you want to be getting your chosen upgrade again as soon as possible. Where's my chosen? He's Vet 1, so he's going to be really strong when we get that level 3 upgrade. And we're going to start going into rifts, so we're going to build a lot of rifts now. We stockpiled the blue, we have a lot of blue. Rifts is generally the best thing for you on Tech 3. Ooh. Big engagement here, we just one-shot all of his snipers. Pop your ND shield because they do 40% damage. So you are building in the background. Oh. Glitch actually cancelled my beam there. Oh, that's nasty. So guys, the reason I didn't cancel my beam when he dropped his scatter bomb is basically because I knew my army was already moving. If I was stood still, I would have cancelled my beam, I would have bulwarked. But because my army was already moving, I didn't bother doing it. So I knew it would only like half hit me. And I didn't lose too much. He lost a lot more to my beam than I lost to his scatter bomb. We're getting Scorch now as well. Scorch is the upgrade you actually want to get when you hit Tech 3. When you have a rave count, when you have like 4 or 5 rafes, that is enough. Trying to pull the weak units to the back. If a Wraith like loses its shield and loses some of its health, make sure you pull it to the back so it can get its shield back, and then the turrets will start actually attacking the Wraiths that have shields, and you get more value out of it as well. Gonna actually need just a couple of Reavers here. We now have a Vet 2 chosen. Not really a lot he can do, to be honest. We got the NG on our chosen as well. Keep him alive, you do not want to lose him. Make sure you check your micro always. Go back to your base, get more units, upgrade more units. Pop dying breath on everything, and this game is pretty much over right now. I'm gonna kill this base. We can go to his main base. We don't really need to teleport there. Was going to. I can upgrade all of my supply pads as well, get a better economy, and he is going to resign. So guys, I was trying to commentate on my gameplay while in a live game, so you can see that in some areas I was probably not talking as much because I was trying to focus on the build and show you guys the build. It is quite quick when you're watching me play. Especially if you're a beginner, but in the advanced guide, as you saw earlier, I did show the actual builds on how to actually do this build against the AI, so it was kind of slowed down a little bit. So hopefully that has helped you guys. And then I just wanted to show it in action and what you can do with it. So obviously I'm like ranked, I don't know, champ 11, 12 on the ladder at the moment, so coming up against Fox Peche there, he's probably like champ top 100, so he'll probably put up a match against guys who are lower your level and things like that. But for me, it might have looked easy, but if you do try this build on ladder, you have to make sure everything is on point. At your skill level, it'll probably work a lot better, because in the lower levels, I've noticed that players don't tend to push as much as they do in the champ level. You don't tend to get those rushes unless a person has learnt like a specific rush, and they rush with it and they hope to win, and they can't do anything after it because they don't know what to do after that. But hopefully this build will help, because it's evolved all around macro, and macro is one of the most important things in this game. If your economy is good, you can constantly build units, and make sure you're always spending that money. Do not stockpile money, especially if you aren't full on population, and if you've got a lot of power, spend it on your infantry upgrades, your unit upgrades, your reinforcements upgrades, so you can get bigger army, things like that. Always be spending. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've put a lot of time and effort into getting the different aspects of the Atriox Advanced Guide in here. You will see a lot of dimensions, from the leader powers to the build orders to the live games, and I hope it has all helped you. And don't feel discouraged to watch it multiple times until you actually catch on and get it. It will take practice. Watching the video one time isn't going to do as much as watching it multiple times for you. You need to learn it over and over until you have it down. So good luck on the ladder, and comment down below in the comment section on how and if this build has helped you, and how high you've climbed from. The double fortification build is very good for 1s, 2s and 3s, especially when you've got teammates there to protect you. So try it out and let me know in the comments below. Thank you.